We all know the thrill of stumbling upon something totally unanticipated and instantly becoming captivated by it. It's a sensation archaeologists and paleontologists know all too well, but you don't need to be in either of those fields to experience it. Amazing discoveries are happening every single day in every corner of the world, and sometimes they unfold purely by chance. So join us for today's video as we count down the 15 most amazing and unexpected recent finds. Number 15. Ancient fish fossil in Colombia. In 2018, a 10-year-old boy visiting a Colombian monastery made a quiet observation that ended up making paleontological history. While exploring the grounds, he noticed an unusual shape embedded in a stone wall, something the adults had walked past for decades. Curious, he snapped a photo and shared it with nearby museum staff. That small act led to experts from the University of Alberta flying in to verify what turned out to be a 90-million-year-old fish fossil. Named Candelarhynchus padalai, this ancient predator now holds the title of South America's oldest known fish fossil. It has no direct descendants today, though it somewhat resembles a barracuda. When it was alive, much of what we now call the northern Andes was still submerged beneath ancient seas. Somehow, this creature became entombed in rock and eventually ended up as part of a monastery wall, its presence unrecognized until a child with fresh eyes asked the right questions. It's a reminder that discovery often starts with noticing what others overlook. Number 14. Britain-Sepp's biggest gold nugget. Lying face down in a freezing river in the Scottish Highlands for hours on end doesn't sound appealing, but for one treasure hunter, it paid off. He unearthed the largest known gold nugget ever found in the British Isles. Weighing 121.3 grams and valued at over $100,000, the chunk of raw 22-karat gold was wedged deep in the riverbed and had to be carefully extracted by hand. But it wasn't just the size that caught attention, it was the strange hole running clean through its center. Experts believe this isn't natural erosion. Instead, it may have been pierced by a tool, possibly thousands of years ago, suggesting the nugget had been used or modified by humans in prehistoric times. Some theorize it was part of a larger artifact, broken and separated over time. The two pieces fit together like puzzle pieces. Though now held by the Crown Estate, the anonymous finder was rewarded for the effort. One thing's clear: sometimes persistence really does strike gold. Number 13. New bee species in Israel. Well guys, the phrase "save the bees" isn't just cool, trendy activism, it's deeply rooted in real environmental urgency. Bees are vital for pollination, playing a role in nearly 80% of the world's flowering plants and crops. So when scientists in Israel identified a brand new species of wild bee in early 2021, it was more than a fascinating find, it was a hopeful one. This species, Lasioglossum dorcini, is currently known only to exist along Israel's central coastal plains. It's a member of the Halictidae family, more commonly known as sweat bees, and it's so small that it barely stretches a quarter of an inch. Researchers believe its presence might be linked to eucalyptus trees planted in the 1960s, which aren't native to the area. That suggests these bees may have originated elsewhere and simply adapted over time. Now the challenge is tracking them to their native habitat and understanding what role they may play in maintaining the ecological balance, especially in a world where bee populations are vanishing fast. Number 12. The shipwreck of the Era. In 1881, British polar explorer Benjamin Lee Smith lost his vessel, the Era, to the crushing grip of Arctic ice near Franz Josef Land. For well over a century, it remained buried beneath the frozen sea until Russian divers finally located it in October 2018. Identifying the ship wasn't immediate. It took spotting an old rum container marked with a Peterhead, Scotland retailer's name to confirm its identity. The Era was an advanced steam yacht for its time, powered by a 50-horsepower engine and designed for harsh environments. Despite being trapped between shifting ice floes, Smith and his crew managed to escape before the ship sank, surviving in makeshift camps for nearly 10 months until help arrived. Smith never sought recognition for his bravery and contributions, which may be why his achievements have faded from the public eye. Ironically, his cousin Florence Nightingale became a household name, while he endured one of the Arctic's harshest tests and asked for nothing in return. Number 11. World War II. Enigma Machine. Near the end of World War II, the German Navy tried to hide its secrets. When codebreakers finally cracked the Enigma machine's cipher, its power was lost, but the Germans didn't know that. They kept using it, and when defeat loomed, they tried to erase every trace. In December 2020, environmental divers with the Worldwide Fund for Nature were scanning Gelting Bay in the Baltic Sea when they found one of those lost machines tangled in a discarded fishing net. Thrown from a scuttled U-boat in May 1945, the Enigma had rested underwater for 75 years. Corroded, yes, but intact. Now in the hands of Germany's Museum of Archaeology in Schleswig, it's undergoing careful restoration before it's displayed publicly. These machines are extremely rare finds because of how carefully they were destroyed or sunk. This one, however, slipped past time's grip and emerged as a powerful symbol of wartime intelligence, cryptography, and the lengths nations go to protect what they know, especially when they think no one's watching. Number 10. Dinosaur Fossil in Alberta. In late 2013, a pipeline inspection near Spirit River, Alberta, took an unexpected turn. As workers dug around the installation site, they unearthed something jaw-dropping, a 35-foot-long fossilized dinosaur. It wasn't a complete skeleton, but it was enough to send paleontologists into a frenzy. Experts believe it belonged to a hadrosaur, a group of herbivorous dinosaurs known for their duck-billed snouts and slow-moving, grazing habits. Think of them as the prehistoric version of cows, quietly munching through ancient forests. The fossil likely dates back to the late Cretaceous period, around 75 million years ago. Unfortunately, part of the remains appears to be buried inside a nearby hill, making full extraction a challenge. Finds like this aren't unusual during large construction projects in Canada, where the ground often hides secrets from deep time. But few match the scale of this one. The moment was a reminder that the Earth's history is always under our feet, sometimes literally waiting for a backhoe to set it free. Alright, now let's move to number 9. The Aya 456 star stream. In January 2021, astronomers revealed a discovery that could shift how we understand our galaxy's formation. Using advanced tracking tools, they identified a massive stream of stars, over 500 of them, all moving in the same direction, at the same speed and spinning at the same rate. This unique cluster, now known as Theia 456, spans 570 light-years across and likely formed around 100 million years ago. The stars appear to be siblings, born together from the same molecular cloud in one synchronized burst of stellar energy. What sets Theia 456 apart isn't just its size, but the harmony in its movement. Most star clusters eventually drift apart, disrupted by galactic forces, but this stream has remained surprisingly unified, like a cosmic family refusing to scatter. Named after the Greek goddess of light, Theia 456 gives astronomers a rare chance to observe a stellar group that has defied the usual chaos of the Milky Way. In galactic terms, it's still very young, quietly racing across space with its origins tightly bound. Number 8. Sea cucumber fossil with 45 arms. Just look at that creepy thing. In April 2019, paleontologists working in Herefordshire, England, uncovered a sea creature straight out of a surreal sketchbook. Dating back around 430 million years, this fossil belonged to an extinct echinoderm that defied normal sea cucumber expectations. Barely an inch wide but wildly armed, this ancient animal had 45 tentacle-like extensions. Scientists named it Solacina Cthulhu, a nod to H.P. Lovecraft's mythic monster thanks to its spiny, alien-like appearance. It was a member of the Ophiocystioids, now extinct ancestors of modern sea cucumbers. Despite its tiny size, the creature was a skilled hunter on the seafloor, using its long arms to reach out and capture passing prey. Since the first find, at least a dozen more have been unearthed in the same region, helping researchers understand how these strange organisms moved and fed in ancient seas. While it may no longer exist, Solacina Cthulhu adds a bizarre and fascinating chapter to the story of early marine evolution. Number 7. Ancient rock art in Sulawesi. Hidden deep inside the limestone caves of Sulawesi, Indonesia, is a painting that's rewriting what we thought we knew about human creativity. In early 2021, archaeologists uncovered a vivid image of a wild pig, rendered in deep red pigment and remarkably intact. This artwork isn't just old, it's ancient, estimated to be at least 45,500 years old, making it the oldest known figurative cave painting on Earth. What makes the find even more stunning is its location. The valley it was discovered in had somehow remained unmapped until 2017, despite being close to a large town. Locals had always known about the caves, but when archaeologist Adam Brum and his team finally explored them, they became the first outsiders to do so. The discovery pushes back against the belief that Europe was the birthplace of early art. It now seems just as likely that the origins lie in Asia, or perhaps even further afield. What remains clear is this: humans have been artists for far longer than we realized. What do you think about this art? Number 6. Hydraulic systems in Metropolis. The ancient city of Metropolis in Turkey has long been known as a thriving hub during the Roman era, but a recent discovery has shed light on just how advanced its infrastructure really was. In early 2021, archaeologists uncovered 4 remarkably well-preserved water systems tucked into the city's ruins. These weren't simple wells or cisterns, they were complex, interconnected reservoirs capable of holding up to 600 tons of water. Built roughly 1,500 years ago, these systems show that Metropolis wasn't just a bustling trade center, it was an engineering marvel. The water likely supplied the entire settlement, including public baths and farms around the Acropolis. The layout reveals intentional design for both efficiency and sustainability, something modern cities still struggle to replicate. Even the name Metropolis evokes modernity today, but here it began with a city that was already way ahead of its time. The more that's unearthed, the clearer it becomes. This wasn't just a city, it was a blueprint for what urban living could be centuries before its time. And again proves we know nothing about the past. Number 5. Mysterious spaceball in Queensland. In 2008, James Sturton, a farmer in Charleville, Queensland, headed out to feed his cattle and noticed something bizarre on his property: a strange metallic sphere lodged in a shallow crater. The object looked like it had dropped from the sky, and James was convinced it had, roughly the size of a basketball and made of lightweight carbon fiber-like material. The sphere was hollow and wrapped in twisted metal. James reached out to NASA, thinking it might be debris from one of their rockets, but he never got a reply. Experts now believe it was likely space junk, possibly from a spent rocket or satellite that didn't burn up completely on re-entry. While objects falling from orbit aren't rare, most land in oceans. That makes this landfall in the middle of rural Australia all the more unusual. Sturton kept the object, joking he was lucky it hadn't landed on his house, or worse, on his head. Mystery aside, it's a quiet testament to how chaotic space really is. Number 4. Banjo Patterson Sisters 120-year-old Cadbury chocolate. When a student researcher combing through the National Library of Australia's archives opened a forgotten box in December 2020, they didn't expect to find chocolate, let alone 120-year-old Cadbury bars still in their original foil. These wartime treats once belonged to Australian poet Andrew Barton Banjo Patterson, best known for writing Waltzing Matilda. The box itself features a portrait of Queen Victoria and dates back to 1900 during the Second Boer War. These chocolate tins were sent as morale boosters to British troops, with a message from the Queen wishing recipients a Happy New Year. While Banjo wasn't a soldier, he likely received the box through a trade or gift while reporting from South Africa. That the chocolates remain intact is astonishing. They've aged in silence, sealed tight for over a century. Though technically still edible, no one's eager to test their luck. For historians, though, this forgotten tin is more than a snack. It's a perfectly preserved relic from a very human moment during a brutal war. Number 3. Nazi briefcase and unusual skulls. In 2016, an unnerving discovery emerged from the depths of Mount Bolshoi in Russia. A small team uncovered a battered Nazi-era briefcase along with several grotesque skulls that looked anything but human. The briefcase bore the seal of the Ahnenerbe, a secret division of Nazi Germany run by Heinrich Himmler. That organization wasn't just focused on archaeological research, it spiraled into bizarre pursuits involving pseudoscience, the occult, and speculative anthropology. Alongside the briefcase was a detailed map of the Andes, curiously dated 1941 and vividly colorized. The skulls, deformed and alien in appearance, sparked wild theories from failed Nazi experiments to contact with non-human life. Russian archaeologist Vladimir Melikov, who led the excavation, has refused to release the skulls for independent study. He's adamant they'll be stolen or disappear. That silence leaves questions hanging in the air. Whether it's fabrication, forbidden science, or something far stranger, this find remains frozen in mystery, guarded, disputed, and still waiting for someone to get close enough to understand what was really going on. Number 2. Glass fishing floats. They look like oversized marbles lost by a giant, but these colorful orbs showing up along the Oregon coast are far from random decorations. They're glass fishing floats, remnants of a bygone era when fishermen from countries like Japan and Norway used them to keep their nets buoyant. The first of these was produced in 1842 in Norway, later catching on in Japan by 1910. Millions were made before industries switched to plastic and aluminum in the 1970s. Unlike wood or cork, glass doesn't break down, so these floats have drifted across oceans for decades, caught in slow-moving currents. Occasionally, they escape those loops and wash up in places like Lincoln City, Oregon, or even as far away as the Caribbean and Polynesia. Each float is a ghost of the past, carrying no message but reminding us of a time when even fishing gear had a handmade artistry to it. And while they're no longer useful, they've turned into sought-after treasures for beachcombers. Number 1. The Anglo-Saxon Prince Burial. In 2003, construction work near Southend in Essex accidentally revealed what's now considered one of the most important Anglo-Saxon finds in British history, a royal burial chamber. So grand it's often called Britain's answer to Tutankhamun's tomb. The burial site dates back to the 6th century and is thought to belong to a nobleman or prince, possibly Sabret's brother Ciexa, though no remains survived apart from a few dental fragments. What gives the site its significance is the astonishing quality and variety of the grave goods. A harp-like instrument called a lyre, finely crafted gold coins, glass beakers, and a painted wooden box, still the only known example of painted Anglo-Saxon woodwork found in the UK. Even more surprising was the inclusion of a Syrian flagon, hinting at far-reaching trade routes that brought exotic items to early medieval Britain. It's a burial that speaks not just of wealth, but of international connections and an evolving cultural identity that historians are still trying to piece together. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.